Hi guys, this is Pam from the Woolly Dragon. So this is a video basically getting geared up for planting out for the spring, getting raised beds ready for planting. I was able to do some of this earlier on, like in November, December, before it got really, really cold for us. And as what usually happens here in Tennessee, it's not so much we get a lot of snow and ice and things like that, but it does get damp and muddy, and it's just not pleasant to go out and have, be tromping around cutting back plants and things like that. And I do sometimes try to keep, like in the herb beds and things like that, I try and keep some of the, the dead stuff, dead branches and things like that. I try to keep that going for most of the winter. That way, if it's going to come up a really, really cold and I can actually get out there and do something, I can throw like a cover, a towel or a sheet or something like that over, and the little sticks will help prop it up and kind of help keep things a little bit warm for them. So I procrastinated not as badly as I usually do, but still I think I've got I've got 3 or 4 more beds that need cleaning up. And then I need to get some compost and aged manure to spread on top. I generally try to get the manure on there earlier, the compost and stuff on earlier, just as a kind of protective layer during the winter. But procrastination. I was born 2 weeks late and I've never caught up. So, but I got more done than I usually do. So yay me. So hope you enjoy this little video. It's basically just me droning on about how things are going in certain beds and how I'm going about fertilizing and things like that. So enjoy. Okay. To show you the progress somewhat in the garden. So this is one of the beds that I have. It's a 4x8 bed made with decking that I basically have herbs growing in. I've got bee balm, and here's some black-eyed Susans, a little bit of sage emerging, thyme. In that corner is Greek oregano, more thyme over here, you can't really see it. And then there's a couple of patches of garlic chives in this little area. And after the early part of the winter, there's a lot of dieback. The thyme is just now starting to come back. This little section over here, I'm gonna have to cut this little thyme back. I mean, it's got some green on it, but some of it is just totally dead, so I will just pick and choose. This sage, I don't think made it. I may wait a couple more weeks and just see if there's anything coming up, but I'll either have to yank you out and replace it or think something else. This lavender, I don't know. It doesn't look good, but I have been fooled by lavender before and thought it was dead, and then come back to cut it out to get rid of it, and there's green growth. So I don't see anything growing right now, but I have replacements inside. And then here's another one of my rosemary plants. I think that cold snap we had at Christmas just killed everything. It was just too much. Most of these plants can exist okay with cold snaps, and if they have a more gradual work up to cold weather. But I think it was just too cold too soon and for too long, because we had like in weather in the 20s or colder, 20 degrees Fahrenheit or colder for a good solid week, and we're just not used to that here in the South. It can get down in the teens one night and then be in the 70s the next day, so we're used to that kind of stuff. So you'll notice I have stuff on here. I have those little green pellets are alfalfa pellets, And the kind of white powder is actually wood ash from my parents' fireplace. Probably not the optimal time to be doing it now that things are starting to grow again, but this bed hasn't been fertilized in a while. And then I threw down an organic fertilizer just as a additional. And what I basically did, I had a bag of compost manure that I got at Lowe's yesterday. Hello, Beaker. Say hello. Basically, I didn't want to bury too much stuff, but the corners were getting a little low, so I went ahead and put more of that on there. Covered up the this is where the Greek oregano is, and it looks like there's absolutely nothing there, but you can see the little sticks coming out of the ground. And I didn't bury it too far, and they'll emerge out of there. But we're expecting rain tonight and tomorrow, so this will all kind of get washed in. All right, so this is what happens to the alfalfa pellets. I did the same thing to this bed. It already had the straw, so I just kind of sprinkled the fertilizer and the ash and everything like that, and the alfalfa pellets, probably back in early December or something like that. And this stuff, this is the alfalfa pellets that are gonna break down. I'm just gonna kind of let that stay in there. So pretty much probably what's happened, all the good stuff that was in the alfalfa pellets has been leached out into the ground, and the bacteria in the soil are working on it. And here is one of my favorite little plants. This is a jump up. No, I keep wanting to say jumping jack flash, but I know that's not it. Johnny jump ups, that's the word, which are tiny little violas. I do try and grow pansies and violets and things like that. But these little guys, these little Johnny jump ups, I have the best luck with these guys, and they do tend to self-sow. It looks like my anise hyssop is coming back. There's little leaves poking up here and there. And there will most likely be more Johnny jump ups coming over here. But this bed is pretty empty. And I'm going to have to decide. Here's this is a black walnut seedling that I liberated from my parents' place. It was growing in an inhospitable spot, and I had it wrapped up. The roots were all wrapped up, and I put it in my wheelbarrow in the garage, and then forgot about it. I think I got it kind of healed into the bed here, but I don't think it's making it. I'll give it a little bit more time, but I may have erred. But that's kind of what's supposed to happen when you put fertilizer. It's all pretty much been soaked in by the rains over the winter, and then what's left over is kind of composty. And this is my pallet wood raised bed. I'm kind of liking it because it's taller than the rest of the raised beds. This is probably, I don't think it's a full 18 inches, maybe 16 inches, but I kind of like it. So I can't remember how many pallets this actually took. I want to say 3. So when you see videos on YouTube about how easy it is for people to make furniture and things like that out of pallet wood, you have to get the really good stuff, and I usually get the broken down, falling apart stuff. So you can use your pallet wood how you like, but I mean, I didn't even try and cut off the excess on the top around the 2x4. So basically I just made walls with using the 2x4s as the base, and then screwed the pallet wood one at a time across. And then I just took this landscape fabric and use that to line the inside. So it's a little watertight. I may, if I ever do one of these again, and considering the condition of my back, probably won't. But if I ever do it again, I will use probably like silicone caulking and things like that to kind of seal it rather than using that stuff. And then I just threw logs and branches in the bottom and then filled it up with compost and topsoil and all that kind of stuff. So this is the bed that last year, if you go back and look at any of my videos from last year, this is where I had the dahlias, or some of the dahlias anyway. And I decided, because I had already planted, I had moved some of my asparagus crowns over to this bed. So with this stick, I know 5 crowns. There should be one right there in the center, but I think that one died. And I'll decide whether or not I want to put another one in there. I probably won't, depending on how well the asparagus grows this year. And I think rather than try and crowd the bed with bedding plants and things like that, I will just let this stay asparagus and not worry about growing other things and sucking up nutrients and things like that. And then on the other side, I also made sure to get my kettle panel trellis. So this thing goes all the way to the bottom. I inserted the trellis before I started filling it with dirt. So I hope I don't ever need this trellis, because it's going to be really impossible to get the sucker out. But it also, on a plus side, holds the landscape fabric better than it does on the side that doesn't have it. So should I ever get sick and tired of asparagus and get rid of the crowns over here or move them again, I may put a second trellis and have my chuck wagon. It looks like a little chuck wagon over here. Yeehaw! But I have 3 grape vines here. That's what the trellis is for. So got this little guy and that bigger one. I'm not too sure this guy is going to do very well, but I do have a replacement. I bought it's actually a variety of grapes. I got it at Walmart of all places. And it's supposed to be like a wine grape for making rosés. I can't remember what the name of it is. I hope I kept the tag, if not. But I think this one's gonna be okay. And then this is a Concord grape. And the aim is to have them grow up. And I had planted some broccoli in here, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I may, like over here in this little corner, and maybe right in the center, do like marigolds or cosmos or something like that. Just kind of fill the space. But again, I tried to do too much with the broccoli plants and things like that, and it was just a little too crowded. It's ugly, but it works. Okay, it's almost finished. And there's been a kitty cat over here using this as your potty. I'm going to hurt you. I love cats, but they like to use some things as their personal property. All right, so this was my compost pile that I turned into a planting area that I turned into a raised bed. So I finally have all the cement blocks in. Again, it's not perfect. I had to dig down on some of these guys to get it a little bit more level. I'm trying to decide. I mean, that end over there isn't very level either, and you can see the wild onions coming up through the center, which is why I want those little capping stones to kind of keep that from happening as much. But it's fully contained. I'm not trying to build an actual structure, a house or anything like that, or a retaining wall. Is just to keep the soil in and hopefully keep the grass out, so I can mow around here and not disturb plants. So I've got my little crabapple seedling in the center. Here's the green stuff. Going around the tree is catnip. On the very far end is some yarrow. And then I just today sprinkled out some poppy seeds and some seeds for cornflowers around the edges. And then I found some, again, going through my garage, finding stuff that I should have found last fall, but found some daffodil bulbs that might not make it, but I went ahead, I mean, they're going to die if I don't do anything with them anyway, so I just stuck them in around the perimeter down good, 5-6 inches, and they probably will not do anything this year if they are going to survive, but they may show themselves next year, and then I'll say, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So the next thing is to go and get more capping stones. There are 20 blocks going around. There's 4 on each end and 6 going along the 2 sides. I have 1 capping stone, so I'm going to need 19 more. Plus, I'm going to need more for my little bed that I made for my raspberries and boysenberries last year. But I have to get a larger vehicle that can take that much weight. I can do that with Lola, but it would take 3 or 4 trips, or otherwise her little butt would be dragging. So we will see. Now the hope is that the cornflowers and the poppies, and I think there's also some seedlings of Dame's Rocket coming up over there too. If they do, sprout and come up for the spring, the poppies will be gone, fairly soon. They'll stay around for a couple of weeks, but then they're gone. So I may try and plant some like annuals and things like that in there. My hope is that the pansies, the poppies that were in here last year would come back and be growing by now, but I'm not seeing anything that looks poppy-ish. Let's see. That one's a Dame's Rocket, and I think that one's a Dame's Rocket. I don't see anything that looks remotely like poppy. But I have a lot of catnip. So yeah, so the aim is to not actually have anything too permanent in here. Probably just do all annuals, indoor wildflowers that may, reseed themselves. But I'm hoping this is mostly going to be for the crabapple here. Hi guys, I just wanted to film a quick little clip. So I had actually filmed quite a few videos on making raised beds using cement blocks last fall, like September, October. And when I made the previous little clip about the little cement block bed around the crabapple tree, that was supposed to be just additional, to show exactly, because I had done the videos showing them in progress kind of deal. And I went back to find those clips, and put them all together into one larger video. And evidently I either imagined that I filmed those videos, or I erased them for some reason, which is very likely. I have one more I can maybe look on my iPad. Maybe I put them on my iPad. Maybe. The only problem with that is my iPad has stopped communicating with my phone and my Mac computer. So I'll have to figure out how to transfer them. But either way, so if I can't find those clips, that's what this is for, just to explain why I'm babbling on about it's finished and all that kind of stuff. So until next time, bye guys. Okay, so I'm doing something different over here this year. So last couple years actually, I've had a cattle panel trellis going over in between these 2 beds. The only problem was it was situated on the outside of the beds, so it was a pain in the butt to weed whack around. So what I've decided to do instead, I removed the trellis from over there on that little square bed there in the center, and then the one from here. And what I've done is, we passed it just a little while ago, so I've got 2 trellises, 16 feet. My beds are 4 by 8. So basically what I did was I bent the first 25% or 4 feet on one end, and then the other end. And what the hope is to use it to make it kind of like a little canopy for my shade cloth to shelter out, stuff that doesn't like bright sun. And my goal is to have spring stuff, broccolis, cabbages, that kind of stuff in these 2 beds with the shade cloth, and possibly also cloth to protect them from those darn cabbage looper worms. And then I'll probably move tomatoes to this bed, and I have hopes of putting another bed right there. But that's going to be for another day, because this aging thing is not fun. I'll probably move my carrots over to that bed, which is one of the areas where I had tomatoes for the last few years. So I'll still have 2 beds of tomatoes, but in newer spots, just in case there's a little disease, even though these 2 beds are side by side, but we'll do it. So I'll show you when that part is done. I have to actually wait until my somebody comes over to help me, because while the cattle panel is not that heavy, it's very ungainly, and I'd rather not just fall on my butt and have the neighbors find me 3 days later trapped under a cattle panel trellis. That would be embarrassing. So I'll do a video when next time I get it set up and show ya. Okay, this is my little, I don't know what to do with it, bed. So this was a raised bed that I made myself, that I didn't understand the importance of drilling pilot holes before I screwed in to 2-inch lumber. So you can see there's a lot of gapping. It's not pretty, but it holds the dirt in. Again, I'm not, as long as there's not any really sharp edges hanging out too far, although there kind of is, but I'm just cognizant of that point. So basically what's in this bed, I've got this is a dwarf blackberry butterfly bush that I have to cut back. That's my Vitex Negundo bush for the bees. I have some golden marguerite. There's little patches there in the center, and then there are 2 or 3 dianthus plants that have been there forever. The one in the corner there is definitely coming back. There's a little bit of green showing right there where the middle is, and the one that's closest to the Vitex isn't making a showing quite yet, but I have another one over in another bed and plus I'm growing new ones. And then I have irises, the daffodils. These are the ones that are just starting to get going. And then lots and lots of the wild spring onions that always come up. And I'm always hearing people, oh, what can I do to get rid of those things? They're just so horrible. Myself, I kind of like them. They don't stick along right. As soon as the weather starts warming up, they go away, dry up and go away, and you can just plant right over them. So I don't mind. And when they're growing out in the lawn and things like that, and I mow over them, it smells like onions. It's so cool. And then this little dead looking thing is a salvia, which salvia is kind of hit or miss. Most of the time they do come back for me, but I think that big winter we had just kind of finished this one off. So I'll cut this one back and kind of move some of the dead pieces of the bulbs here from last year, and just see. Probably after the daffodils are gone and died back, I'll probably go ahead and mulch this bed again. Doesn't look like it, but I did mulch this last year. So don't ever get complacent, make one raised bed, fill it, plant stuff, and don't expect you have to refill it. You have to replace the dirt because it settles. You pull carrots and other things out, you pull out dirt with it, and some of it washes away and some of it just goes away because a lot of it is compost and gets consumed by the worms and things. Why are you climbing up there? I'm not in the house. RJ. RJ. Yes, silly. He likes to climb up on the balcony and be let in, but up, and there goes the other one. I don't know where you guys think you're going. All right. So, spring is about to arrive, yay. But I'm not letting down my guard. I know there's going to be another big cold spell. I just know it. Hi guys. So I was putting this video together and just realized that I hadn't actually said goodbye to y'all. So just wanted to say thanks for coming and visiting again. If you like the video, subscribe and press the like button, comment. If you have anything to say, questions, comments, observations, advice. I take advice all day long. Well, I'll listen. I don't know if I'll actually adhere to it or not. I don't know why I have the Rapunzel effect going on here. Two things. The two cats at the last clip going up onto the balcony in front of that door. They're fine. They went inside. Soon after I went inside and opened the door for them, they're fine. Sleeping next to me, as a matter of fact, snoring away. And the videos that I had shot previously last fall about the cement block raised beds, I can't find them. I must have just, deleted them thinking I had transferred them to a different thing. Because generally what I try and do is I use my cell phone to videotape, and then I do the airdrop feature because I use all Apple stuff. I have the phone, the iPad, and then the Mac laptop, which is what I put the video clips together on. And what I'll do is I'll take the videos with my camera, transfer them through airdrop to the Mac, and then put the videos together and then upload it to YouTube. I don't know what I could have done with it. I must have just been in. I've already probably, I probably thought I'd already transferred them and just went ahead and was getting stuff off my phone to make space because I take a lot of pictures and videos. But, yep, so that was it. So this video, even though I shot it on February 24th, is going to be uploaded to YouTube or ready to be watched on YouTube on probably March 1st. So here's hoping the transition into March is a smooth one and we don't have typical March weather with tornadoes and wind and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, I don't have a lot of issues with tornadoes in my neck of the woods. There's just too many mountains. And weather systems kind of have a tendency to break up over going across the Cumberland Plateau between Middle Tennessee and where I am in East Tennessee. So, but the area that I'm located on, that and the fact that I don't have a lot of trees or anything as windbreak, I do get quite a bit of wind. And there are times I worry that, all my veggies, all my plants in the garden and all my beehives are going to get knocked down, and, house is going to knock down, and I'm going to go to Oz and they're going to say, "You're not Dorothy." Now I want to watch Wizard of Oz. Oh, well, probably tomorrow. So everyone have a good one. Have a great March 1st. And hope you like the video. Like, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. The more people I have coming to these videos, the closer I get to being a $10 heir with YouTube. And that's it. Thanks, guys. Bye.